turns everybody's, what's that thing? Mic on. Gotta look at my settings. Live on YouTube. We sure are. Good morning, everybody watching from YouTube. Welcome to Deep Ministries weekly live stream session 21. I had something else planned to talk about today. Actually, we were going to keep talking about boundaries, but something was coming up that is really important to deal with, which is just kind of taking a minute to check in with what is going on in this wild and crazy world right now. So that's why we are pivoting just a smidge away from boundaries. And we're going to be talking about what the heck is going on. Why is this happening? Why do bad things happen to innocent? And how can good things happen to terrible people? So that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about today. I want to answer any questions that you might have. We're just going to go live here on our Deep Ministries streaming page. Good morning, Lena. How are you? Good to see you. Goodness, I'm so used to navigating this with my mouse. There's not enough space on this little table that I'm using to have my mouse. Okay, weird. And my streaming app kicked me out, which was so bizarre. Cool. Alrighty, update. Okay, cool. We're back online. Goodness gracious. Let me check over here for YouTube. And then we're going to go live on the rest of the channels, and then we shall begin. Goodness gracious, it is 10 o'clock on the nose. Who even am I? I don't recognize myself. What the hell? How am I so on time? Good morning, everybody on Facebook. Good morning if you're watching from Twitter, from LinkedIn, from YouTube, from our streaming page, or in my Zoom room. Good morning, Miss Kim. Today, I'm not doing Insta, so hopefully everybody from Insta will find me on a different platform, simply because I just don't have enough room here in this hotel. How are you doing? Welcome to our Deep Ministries weekly live stream. My name is Abby Levine, and we are going to talk about what the hell is going on. So let me just get that updated. Perfect. Hi, good morning, whoever's watching from Facebook. How are you? Okay, cool. All right. Neat. Now, the last thing, open up the chat. Yeah, right. Camera's off, but mic on. I know it's so bizarre. I'm going to have to at my settings here in my Zoom room. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to my Deep Ministries weekly live stream. Thank you for joining us today. Hi, Brisa. Welcome. I look so tanned. I don't know why I'm so super tan. I didn't spend any additional time. I don't think I was out in the sun at all yesterday. It might just be the way that the lighting is coming in through the window. I'll take it. How's everybody doing today? How are we? How was your week? What's going on? This past week was a crazy week. Lots of devastating things happening. So much grief having to move through, some exciting things happening, just a really, really bananas kind of energy. So if you're tuning in for the first time to Deep Ministries, then let me tell you a little bit about who I am and what we do. The intensity of my tan is kind of throwing me off a little bit right now. I don't know why I look so super tanned. Anyway, so my name is Abby Levine. Deep Ministries is my nonprofit corporation, and we have two separate areas. Good morning. One area is purely focused on education, and that's what we're doing here. Every single week, I go live and we talk about a really important aspect of being a functioning human in a completely crazy, fucked up world, right? There's really no gentle way to say it. And so I have a unique set of tools, processes, and ideologies, theories that I didn't make up, that I actually channel from the divine. I am a channel. I can talk to angels, can talk to God, I can talk to Creator, etc., etc. Kind of like just picking up the phone. So I'm being handed lots of these tools and techniques that are really important on how to live our most evolved life. And that is what Deep Ministries stands for. Deep stands for Divine Evolutionary Path, and it's practical steps rooted in spirit that anybody can take to get to their most evolved life of ease and abundance. And I also do free classes during the week where we're actually doing the healing portion. So on Sundays, we talk about the theory, and then during the week, we do the actual work. You can't just sit there and learn and hope that it's going to osmose and shift you at a fundamental level. You actually have to do something about it. So that's what we do. And then my practical initiative with Deep Ministries right now, our first initiative is building transitional housing for children emancipating out of the foster care system. They don't have anywhere to go. Most of them, they don't have anything to do. They don't know how to be an adult. So we're here to transition them safely in the most healed, evolved way into becoming leaders of their generation. So that's me. That's what we're about. That's what we're doing on Sundays. And in our Deep Ministries process, we're right in the middle of track one. And track one is dissolving poverty mindset. And all the important reasons why it's important to dissolve poverty mindset, not only on an individual level, but also on a global scale. It's really, really vital that we start to rearrange the way that we think about money, wealth, abundance, resources, so that we can tap into exactly what is here for us in order to support us in our mission. So we're in the middle of track one. We're working on boundaries. It's really dense stuff, you guys, because working on boundaries is one of the most important things that we are here to do. We are supposed to learn how to be sovereign beings so that we can really claim our part and our resources and our most beautiful divine life while we are here. We get to have the life experience that we choose to. But we're not taught. We're not taught how to do that. Nobody is teaching this nonsense. And I say nonsense because this stuff is so freaking simple. It is ridiculous that we're not taught it, but it's very specific. We're not taught it on purpose. So we're in the middle of track one. We're working on boundaries. It's really dense. It's really hard because the idea of setting boundaries is awesome, right? We all want to have relationships in which we feel healthy and loved and loving and lit up and whole and complete within ourselves and with others, where we feel held and nurtured and cared for. But we have so much trauma that stops us from either being able to create those experiences in relationships or or that attract and magnetize people to us that don't support those kinds of experiences. So it's dense. We're clearing all kinds of limitations around why we don't set boundaries. This next week, we're going to clear. Last week, we cleared fear of retaliation. You know, when you set boundaries and someone actually retaliates against your boundary. Next week, we're clearing fear of rejection. You know, when that fear, that deep intrinsic fear that's deeply buried within our DNA, that if we are rejected by our community, we will perish. But I got a hit that we're not going to talk about boundaries today. And I thought it was going to be an Ask Your Angels, but the kibosh was put on that real quick. I asked and it was like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. So we're not talking about boundaries. We're not doing an Ask Your Angels. What are we doing? And then when I sat down to plan today's session, it came through that we're just doing kind of more of a grounding. Hi, Mara. Good morning. We're doing more of a grounding session today. We're doing a remembering. We're doing a why are we here? Answering some questions. What the fuck is going on? Why do bad things, terrible things, atrocious things happen to innocents? And how can bad people get away with doing some things? Or how do bad people get such great things that happen in their lives? What the hell? Like, what's the point? You know, all these kinds of questions that we ask ourselves when things get blurry, floofy, scary, devastating. So that's what we're doing today. Dang it. I was trying to keep my sweater on because, you know, it just seems like what you should do, but it's too hot. We're by the beach. It's too hot to keep my sweater on. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Let me just catch up on these comments here. Kat says processing tooth pain while drilling into a nerve. Also, your aunt was taken off of life support. Hi, Marvin. And you are assisting her in the crossing over. Wow. Wow. Beautiful and devastating. The thing about death is that it doesn't matter how long you see it coming for, like whether it was sudden or whether it, you see it coming for a long time. It's still sad. Okay, that seems like a no-brainer, but it's like you can be comfortable with death and you can be sad when someone crosses over, right? You can know deeply within your soul that there are lots of things across the veil that happens. Like you can know deeply within your soul that death is simply a shifting of a soul from one type of experience to another. Like I've heard it described as, you're just walking into a different room. And yet you can still really miss the person and you can still validate the hole that they leave behind when they're no longer in their physical form. So putting lots of love and light around you. That's so beautiful, Kat, that you're stepping into your mediumship gifts. Tried setting up a healing pod. And the angels told you it was her time and there was nothing you could do with the assisting of crossing over. Yep. Yep. So beautiful for checking, right? Oh, such beautiful work for checking in with the angels. I always will. Same. Like anybody. Yeah. Even if I don't know the person, if they post their, mom or cousin or sister or child is sick on Facebook, I'm like, oh, can we do a healing circle? Is that okay? And sometimes we get yeah, sure. Do a healing circle, send some prayers, and so I'll gather, energetically gather healers that I know would intentionally send healing energy. Good morning, Cheryl. And we send it over, and sometimes they're like, no, nothing to be done. It's time for the crossing, and their mission is complete. So good job. Wow, so intense. Okay, so where shall we start? Because man, the why are we here question is so broad. Hi, Shell. Welcome, sweetheart. I believe that this is a class for you, babe, for you and anyone else who is experiencing death and crossing over on a quite profound scale. Okay. Oh, they're telling me don't overthink it, just roll. Okay. I like to present information in a really easy, tangible, easy to digest way, but they're telling me today is not one of those types of classes. Today is just a discussion. So let's talk about, why are we here? What's the point? What is the point of being on this planet? We can start right off the bat by just acknowledging that life is shitty a lot of the time. And that doesn't negate the beauty that exists on this planet, and the beautiful experiences that we have, and the beautiful people that we meet, and the joy and the miracles and the abundance and the just the awe-inspiring experience that we get to have as humans, right? As we are talking about the shittiness of life, we're not negating anything that makes life fucking divine. Heaven on earth. Okay, so life is heavenly. That the experiences that we have are miraculous. We can witness miracles on a daily basis, on a moment by moment basis. And yet, it's fucking hard, man. This shit sucks sometimes, right? So when we're in those moments of despair, hi, Kim, you made it live. Yay. Welcome. So when we're in these moments of despair, when we're witnessing like just tragic things happen to innocence, right? And we're wondering, why, how, right? How? If there is a divine team, if there is a God of this planet, what the actual fuck? Like, how can things like this happen? And I know, because I've had moments like this, right? I have moments like this when I'm just like, this cannot be. This cannot happen. This is not okay. How? How can this happen? There are moments like that of despair. Are we really helpless? Is there really nothing to be done? And I don't truly believe that. I don't believe that we're helpless. I believe that there's always something to be done. But I also believe that we are out of control over everything that happens outside of us, and that the only arena that we can do something within is our personal arena. We can work on ourselves. We can shine more brightly. Lead with love. We can lead with compassion, with kind, open-hearted connection, right? We can heal our trauma so that we don't wander around the world damaging and re-traumatizing other people. So these are some of the things that we can personally do. But we're going to talk today about kind of like the overall picture. Like, what? How? Why? Okay? Those kinds of things. Okay. They're reminding me not to overthink it, because I was trying to decide if I should take it microcosmically or macrocosmically, but we're going to start microcosmically. So let's start with us each individually. Now, as I speak, as I teach this overview, I want to encourage you to filter everything that I say through your intuition. Okay? Filter everything that I say through your intuition. Shell, why did you delete your comment? Because Not everything that I say is going to necessarily work for you. Not everything that I say is going to resonate with you. Not everything that I say is going to align with you. Okay. I also have trauma. I also have human experiences that when I teach, the truths are filtered through, right? So you can't take anything that I'm saying at face value. Take what works for you, take what lands. The community standards blocked it. Grr. Take what lands and leave anything that you don't need, that you don't want, that doesn't work for you. Okay. Teaching simply from my beliefs, from my experiences, and from what I have been taught by the divine. So we are here. Now, I talk about this quite frequently. Yes, take what resonates, leave the rest. Exactly. We are here for three purposes. We are here to evolve. We are here to experience, and we are here to help others evolve and experience. Okay, so that is the nature, the basis of life. The nature of life is, why are we here? Why are we on planet Earth? We are here to grow. We are here to experience the magnitude of all inspiring things that we can experience while we're here on planet Earth. And we are here to help others grow and experience. Got it? 3 reasons for being on Earth. Okay. But that applies to you as an individual. It applies to each town, each community. It applies to humanity as a whole. It applies to our planet, to our solar system, to our universe, to our cosmos, to existence, and all of the beings that live there within. Okay. Oh, wow, beautiful. Shelley has witnessed the birth of her 2 daughters. Oh, miracles. Yes, we can create life inside of our bodies. Fucking insane. Insane. It's insane. Okay, so that's why we're here. Okay, that's why we're here. That's why humanity is here. That's why this universe exists, because the Creator desired to know itself. And the easiest way to know itself is to kind of create aspects of itself to then be able to learn from. So essentially, Creator turned itself into a mirror of itself so it could look at itself and learn. Okay, so that is the purpose of existence: evolution, growth, experience, help others, because essentially we are all creator. There's this really great meme that I'll repost if I remember and can find it, which kind of explains like really how we are all one, because this consciousness, right, speaks a lot about one love. We are all one, we are all connected, and it is true in a literal way. It is literally true, not theoretically true. But it's difficult to kind of wrap your head around, well, if we are one, how can I watch you on a video and disagree with what you're saying? If we are one, how can I not like you? How can you hurt me? How can we be one and also I'm not an angel, and also I can't click my fingers and manifest $1 million in my bank account, right? It can be really difficult to wrap our heads, and by the way, I should say, yet. You can't click your fingers and manifest $1 million in your bank account yet. Yet. That is all. You just simply don't know how to yet. And so it's difficult to kind of wrap your head around. But so that's essentially the nature of existence. Okay. We are here to grow, to experience, and to help others grow and experience. Now, let's chunk it down a little bit. Okay, let's talk about the difference between light and dark. And I'm being told we're not going to dwell too much on darkness, which some people call evil. I call selfishness because it's essentially our shadows, right? It's the shadow side of existence. It's part of the whole. It must exist. I call it selfishness because it's just self-centered. It has a desire that has nothing to do with evolution. The not love frequency, I love that even more. Yeah, I've got love and not love. I even think that calling it fear puts it too much in a box. I love the not love. It's like the light and the darkness. It's the yin and the yang. It's all part of the whole. It's not separate. We all have it. We all have aspects of it. And yet it has this perception of operating as its own individual consciousness, right? Evil as a consciousness it has separated by perception. Okay. Let's just assume that when I'm saying separate, we're understanding that when we feel separate from something, it is simply an illusion. Okay, we are not separate, but our experience of it feels as if it is separate. So we have to address the experience of it, because we cannot invalidate our experience as evil, feeling like not love, as shadow, as darkness, feeling as if it is an entity that is outside of us. That is our experience. It feels like it attacks us, feels like it presses its will upon us, it stops us, it blocks us from rising, etc., etc. Okay. And we are high level today. Can I just come a little bit more practical? Not yet. Okay. What's next? Okay, cool. Okay. Without the darkness, without the not love, without fear, we cannot perceive ourselves. We cannot see ourselves. I read in a book that I was guided to by my team, a beautiful parable that really helped me get it, which is, imagine that we are a lantern hanging on the branch of a tree in a forest during the daytime, right? And we're in a forest that's also surrounded by lanterns, right? So we are a lantern, we are surrounded by lanterns. Together, we all make up this beautiful forest of light, of this pure divine light. But when everything is bright, we cannot see ourselves. We can't perceive ourselves. But during the nighttime, we can see our light. We can see ourselves in the darkness. Darkness exists in order for us to be able to know that we are present. Darkness exists in order for us to be able to perceive our brightness, our light. Okay, there's lots of other reasons for darkness existing, but on the most fundamental level, that is the reason that darkness exists, because otherwise we would not be able to see ourselves as separate from the whole. We would not be able to perceive our own unique characteristics. And part of the evolution, part of the experience is to notice those unique individual characteristics, because when we notice our unique individual characteristics, us as creator knows itself, can witness itself, learns what it wanted to learn about itself, right? So us finding, remembering, and there's lots of narrative about, oh, you don't have to go out and find yourself. Yes, 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 yes. You don't. Let's just take that as a given. You're not outside. You are right here. But we don't know how, right? So we set out on this quest to come back to ourselves, to find ourselves. But this the importance of this journey of discovering ourselves, of discovering our importance, our value, our uniqueness, our individual beauty, our individual traumas, our, not pretty stuff. That is the point of all of existence. Okay? With me so far? Dang, we're so high level right now. Okay, with me, at least a little, kind of understand a bit what I'm saying. You might need to turn off your ears and listen with your heart. Because shit, man, we're going real high. This is like a real bird's eye view of existence. Okay, cool. So, not even one single person confirmed that they understand what I'm saying. Does anybody understand what I'm saying? Help! Okay, good. Oh, you nodded. Okay, thanks, Kat. Okay, Kat, Lena. Okay, good. 2 people. Yes, Shelly. Okay, phew. Okay, so some people understand what I'm saying. If you don't, no problem. Write down questions because we can definitely do questions. If you need me to elaborate on something, definitely let me know. Okay, cool. So what's with all the suffering? Okay. Kim, yay, Kim understands too. Cool, okay. There are a variety of different reasons for suffering. One, there's a narrative intrinsically woven into our society that we are supposed to suffer. And we are supposed to evolve beyond that narrative as a human species. Okay. Now, how can you evolve past something if it doesn't exist? You can't. How can you learn to be better at basketball if you don't practice playing basketball? You can't. There's a really great quote from Evan Almighty with Steve Carell, which is Evan's wife is talking to God, and she's like, what's going on? And God says, when you pray for patience, do you just get more patience, or do you get opportunities to develop and grow and strengthen your patience? When you pray for love, do you just get more love, or do you get opportunities to practice opening your heart, softening your expectations, taking down your God? And I'm paraphrasing, and I'm certain I'm getting it mostly wrong. This was my understanding of how Morgan Freeman responded to Evan's wife. So that's why we have so much suffering. As a species, it is time to release this misconception, this misunderstanding, this untruth that we are supposed to suffer as part of our existence. This bullshit that's been handed down for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. We are not supposed to suffer. We are not supposed to have a hard time. What we are supposed to do is learn how to grow beyond that narrative, to grow beyond that program. And we need the thing in place so that we can hone our skills of moving through, of moving beyond, of rising above, of working our way through, of digging underneath, of essentially doing whatever it takes in order to move beyond the suffering. So that's a very practical reason for the suffering. Sometimes they're karmic corrections, right? We are allowed to have whatever experience we want to have in however many lifetimes we want to have, or we need to have in order to reconnect with Source. But that doesn't mean that our experiences come for free. What do I mean by that? Is that sometimes we have the desire to to experience what it's like to control, to be in power, to be a dictator, to be a murderer, mass murderer, right? We are allowed to choose to have those experiences, but they come with a cost. Because when we choose to have those experiences, harm is created, right? We do harm. And that comes with a cost, a universal cost. And that cost is karma. And so sometimes within the same lifetime, sometimes in the next lifetime, sometimes over several lifetimes, we have to karmically correct the actions or the life that we chose to experience. And it's all part of the balance. It's all part of the whole. So it's not that, it's not necessarily that we're even bad people. Where some souls tend to get distorted is if they come for a karmic correction and they move back into harm. They don't actually evolve through whatever situation they requested or they chose in order to create that karmic correction. They get stuck in a loop of harm and their souls get twisted and distorted. And sometimes it can get so bad to the point where their souls have to be dispersed, redispersed, and combined with newly created souls if it gets too twisted, too distorted. Shelley always compares her light and dark side to a flashlight. You can bask in its light, but you have to step into the dark area where it doesn't shine to grow. You can't just stand in the light forever. Oh, that's so beautiful, Shelley. That's absolutely on point too, because that's exactly what the comfort zone is, right? I always visualize something very similar. Like I'm in a dark forest, and when I'm deep in the forest, I'm working on my trauma, and I have a flashlight. And the flashlight is my unconscious comfort zone. And my mind will let me go to the edge of where the light shines. But in order to continue to evolve, I have to get to the edge of where the light shines, move back into the darkness so that the light can continue to expand, evolve, and grow. And I can see further and further and further. So that's beautiful. I love that. Okay, so sometimes it's a karmic correction. And sometimes, especially when it comes to, and it's the case of innocence, young children who haven't done anything to deserve the terror, the turmoil, the conflict, the suffering, the all of the really hard things about life. When it's, especially when it's younglings, it is usually more advanced souls volunteering for a mission to help teach younger souls a specific lesson. One thing that is certain, if we, before we come to planet Earth, if we have a violent or early death, we get to know that before we come. That is a choice that we get to make before we come here. Okay, so even though it is still tragic for us to experience on Earth, and I refuse to minimize any of the emotions that go with these experiences, because fuck, man, fuck. Like, to experience these as humans is so, and that's all I can say. There are no words that describe the depth of the experiences, of the tragedies, of the horrors, of the atrocities that we have to witness or that we have to experience as humans, right? There's just no words, right? So this is real stuff. This is valid. None of these situations are minimized. It still is traumatic, terrifying. All of these are very valid. Absolutely, Mara, it's still inexcusable, 100%. People are still held accountable for their actions, 100%, always. There is always a correction. All of this narrative that karma doesn't exist anymore, the hell? Goodness gracious. That's not true, by the way. It's like saying, oh, the world is a free for all now. Go do whatever the hell you want. You won't have to face the consequences. Look around. Anybody notice that it's not possible to do something and not experience the consequences? Karma still exists. It never will not. It's part of evolution. There is an equal opposite reaction to every action. That is a law of physics. It is a law of the universe. Karma is not going to poof. Come on now. Let's be logical about this. So, okay. So there's still a course correction. People will have to answer for their actions. They will have to do the karmic correction. But with tragedies, with terrors, with horrors, with atrocities, okay, with genocides, those groups of souls know what they're signing up for before they come. They are getting the experience of it that they are volunteering for, right? We don't only, as souls, Creator doesn't choose to only experience the light and fluffy things. Creator chooses to experience the full gamut of existence, the hateful things, the deeply evil things, the violent things. Creator desires to experience it all, and souls within Creator's realm are how Creator gets to experience, chooses to experience, right? So these are all done on volunteer bases. Now, when we're humans, we often don't remember signing up for this shit. So that's when things get a little tricky, because we're like holding ourselves accountable for decisions that we made not in this human body, and that gets a little dicey. That's where resentment comes in, anger comes in, rage comes in, because it feels like it's being impressed upon us. We do not remember signing up for this shit. And that's also super valid. That's something I definitely help my clients work through, is taking them back to the memory of signing up for this, seeing the purpose, seeing why, the conversations that happened with their council of light and with their spirit guides when the decision was being made. So that's one of the ways that we can have some peace, is by knowing that we were part of that decision-making process, right? Okay. So that's something that's really important to know, is that when people have, hi, Michelle, when people have a violent, a sudden, or an early death, they know that before they come. Most of the time, it is much more highly evolved beings that, that choose to sign up for those lives. They might be so high they don't even manifest on Earth anymore, but they sign up for that mission in order to help a group of people, or some individuals in particular, grow, right? Because of the purpose of existence. We are here to experience, we're here to grow, and we're here to help others learn and grow. And when we help others learn and grow, we continue to evolve, right? So that's the beauty of this whole dynamic. We're literally all in it together. We work together. Michelle, you'd love to learn and expedite that. Yeah, it can only be done on a one-on-one basis, sweetheart. So when you're ready for one-on-one, you let me know. Okay, so that is some of the behind, like, suffering. Okay. Why do bad things happen to innocence? Because it was determined, because it was destined. Now, that doesn't take away any of the humans, with an apostrophe on the backside, any of the humans that are involved. It doesn't take away their right of free will to make different choices, because we always have our right of free will, no matter what our predetermined paths are. That's why things are constantly being reworked and reorganized, because at every moment we have a choice to deviate from our highest, most evolved path. And when we do, things have to be shifted, things have to be moved around. So that's the thing. Okay, so that's why bad things happen to innocents. But why do good things happen to bad people? For the same reason. Because those people chose to come here and have an experience. And because of their divine sovereignty, they get to have whatever experience it is that they choose to. One of the biggest fallacies is that we are helpless. We're helpless, we're hopeless. We don't get a say in what happens to us. When the truth is that we are the only ones who get a say in what happens to us. Everything that is done to us must have our consent to participate. Everything. We must participate. I'm not saying like someone is a dick to you, you created that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying someone's a dick to you, you have the option to continue to participate in that cycle and say, okay, you can be a dick to me and not set boundaries, not enforce consequences. Or at that moment, you can choose to set boundaries, to enforce consequences, to protect your sovereign right to have the existence that you choose to have. And you can make sure that that never happens to you again in some way, shape, or form. And there are all levels of tools and techniques to make sure that you get to have the existence that you choose to, right? The choice to follow a law, the choice to follow a law is a choice, right? Laws are rules. There's that old adage, rules are made to be broken, right? Because our choice to honor law is a choice. Now, we might not want to deal with the consequences of not following the law, right? So we make the choice to follow the law, but that doesn't mean we have to. Even if someone, and this is, no, I'm not going to, no, thank you. Okay, never mind. Nobody can make you do anything, and nobody can make you have an experience that you do not first choose to or consent to buying into. You have to consent to buy into that experience, especially if it goes beyond the first experience. Shelley, so these deaths all around you, they knew what was going to happen. Your theory of you being a death magnet is void. It's just life. Yeah, that put you close to them to teach you something. Honey, there's no such thing as a death magnet. There's no such thing. If there was such a thing, then we're all it. We're all death magnets. Okay, so to answer your question, yes, all of those people knew they were going to die because death is a certainty. We all know we're going to die. If you are hoping not to die, you are in for a nasty shock. You will certainly die. And we don't know when that's going to happen. Now, I hope it's not going to happen for, 30, 40 years. Got my fingers crossed for that. But it's a certainty, right? So yes, they knew they were going to die. Now, your nephew is a slightly different option because we have free will. If we don't feel up to the challenge that we have picked out for ourselves in this lifetime, we always have permission to take an early exit. Right? To get off the ride early. Stop the train. I'm getting off. This shit is whack. Nobody told me how hard this was going to be. Because, man, if we got a full disclaimer about how hard life was going to be, I don't know that we would necessarily sign up for Earth all the way. Yeah, man, this shit is so hard. So he chose an early exit. And that's fine. We get to. I mean, it's not fine. It's devastating for those that are left behind, right? It's devastating for those of us who can feel that it was too early. We can feel that that wasn't the way the path was designed to go in its highest evolution. We can feel that. We just know that. But that doesn't take away each of our sovereign right to take an early exit should we decide that we just don't have strength. We just don't have strength. Now, that's a fallacy because we have enough strength to get through anything. There are enough tools, enough strength, enough resources to get through absolutely any experience that exists on this planet. So our perception of what we can and can't do is the thing that matters, not the reality. Does that make sense, guys? Are you with me on that? You don't have to agree necessarily, but does it at least make sense? Yes, good. Thank you. Cool. All right, perfect. Hi, Jen. Okay, so now let's talk about our path, our divine path, okay? Because we each have a divine path. Each society, each group of people, you know, like I'm in a Pokemon group in Santa Clarita Valley. Our Pokemon group has its own divine path of evolution, right? Each community, each grouping, each town, each state, each country, the world, every single individual being of consciousness and group of beings of consciousness has a divine path. Now, the divine path, to my understanding, is simply the most evolved, expanded, abundant version of the path. Okay, so what that means is it would be the most growth that a person could experience, the most magnificent experiences, the most impact, the most luxurious lifestyle, right? It all comes together in our divine path. Now, are there those of us, I'm hearing someone's question, are there those of us, maybe it's Lena, that are designed to live a life with not the resources that we need to support us? No, that does not exist. It doesn't exist that we would come to this planet to not have the resources that we need in order to live our most evolved life of ease and abundance. It doesn't exist. Okay, but part of the lessons are in getting to that place. What do we need to do to get to that place? Okay, so we have this highest path of evolution, most impact, greatest expansion, most growth, most resources available, etc., etc., etc. So there's the highest path. That path is already mapped out. Most of the big things are already laid out. Lena, I do hear everything. Yeah, I'm not kidding about being a channel. That's not a joke. Not pretending. So we have one most high evolved path. That is, all the main points are already mapped out. We actually work with our teams before we come here. We map out the main points. In fact, my understanding of what a déjà vu is, a déjà vu lets us know that we are still on our highest path of abundance, ease, and evolution. It's just like snapshots that just let you know, hey, you're still on the right track. You're still on the, not the right per se, because every path is the right path, but the highest one, the highest evolving one. Okay, cool. So how do we know? How do we know what path to take? Thank you. Thanks, Kat. Yeah, that's just my experience. And my experience at Deja Vus is that every time I'm going through an evolution, I'll have the next set of dreams that pin the deja vus in my unconscious mind. And sometimes, like just a couple of days ago, I had a deja vu that I'm certain came from when I was 15 years old. So I'm like, on track, because I could feel like just the length of time ago that pinned itself in my unconscious. So, okay, how do we know? How do we follow the path? What do we do? Which way do we go? When we come to a crossroads, do we go left? Do we go right? Is there a straight road that we're just not seeing because it's a labyrinth and everything is all floofy and mixed about? So we know by following our intuition, okay? I believe that intuition comes from a variety of different sources. I believe it comes from our divine team, comes from creator, it comes from universal consciousness, which is the pot of knowledge of everything that ever has been, is being, will be, because it's all the same, right? I believe it comes from universal consciousness. And I also believe it comes from my higher self. And it all filters through one filter, which comes in as my intuition. Now, should I choose to, I can't talk to different entities separately, but mostly I just want the right answer. I don't need to know who's giving me the answer, as long as I know that it's from my team of light and not an interfering source. So intuition is the thing that will keep you on your highest, most evolving, most abundant path. Okay. That's why, yeah, Michelle, she agrees. She just needs the answers. Tell me it's coming from good. Tell me it's coming from light. Other than that, it doesn't matter. But that's why connecting with your intuition is vital. It is not something that you can avoid. You need it. You need to have a connection with your intuition. You have to. Sometimes you have to heal trauma in order to strengthen your connection with your intuition. Sometimes you have to heal wounds in order to take action based on what your intuition tells you to do. But you need to have your intuition because it takes you on your highest, most evolving path. Let's say that you hear what intuition says and you completely ignore it and you do something different. Are you now fucked? No. It is the thank goodness answer. No. Every time you choose not to follow your highest path, a brand new reality is created, okay? A new path, a new timeline, and it is just as valid. Each of your experiences are valid. There is no right or wrong way. There is no good or bad path. You're going to learn something important in every single kind of experience that you could create, okay? So there is no right, wrong, good, bad. That doesn't exist. There's not even timing. There's no timing associated with it. But when we do take a path, if we ignore our intuition, if we only follow logic, or we're acting in our trauma, we get further away from the path, okay? So when you do reconnect with your intuition and you start listening to your intuition, sometimes there's a very jarring recentering, getting you back on the path, which looks like, feels like, sounds like your world is falling apart. And that's valid. Your world is falling apart because the world that you had created was not based on your highest evolution, on your most expansive experience. It was based on something different. So if you choose to course correct back to your experience, your highest, most expansive experience, then yes, the systems and the relationships sometimes that you've created around you are going to have to disintegrate. They're going to have to deconstruct. They will fall to pieces so that you can realign with your highest path. And it can be a jarring realignment. The thing about intuition is it doesn't take you on the easy path. It takes you on the highest path of expansion. And has growth ever been easy or fluffy? No, not in my experience. Perhaps your experience is different. And if it is, that's amazing. Don't let me project my experience onto you, because keep your, fluffy growth. I would just ask you to check in with your levels of denial there while you're at it. So growth is not easy. Healing is not linear. Evolution is not linear. It does not happen in a straight line. Okay. So sometimes intuition says something like, ugh, move in with this person. Boo, intuition. Boo. It's just my 2 cents, my life right now. So intuition will say, move in with this person. And it's not actually because that person is a person that you're supposed to grow with, evolve with, live life with. Sometimes it's because you need to learn a lesson that is so deep and so complete, and a trauma needs to be revealed to you that unless the walls of your life are completely deconstructed and your very soul is cracked open and left exposed to the elements, unless they shake you that hard, the lesson will not be seen. It won't be learned. That's what intuition will do. Intuition could tell you, move to this town, relocate, drag your family across the country, and you get there, and that's not where you're supposed to go. You were supposed to go somewhere else, or you move for a job and then you get fired within a week, right? Not necessarily because intuition is like, hey, here's a nice, easy, light, fluffy direction to go in. No, intuition will do whatever it takes to get you out of your own way. So if relocating is not an option to you, then intuition will find a way around you and go, well, you said you want your highest path. Your highest path is over here. Woo-hoo. Look over here. Come get this job. Come get this beautiful, come. And it just calls you with the promise of expectation, right? And you go over there and everything, all the illusions that you built in your mind just instantly crumble and disintegrate. That's how intuition works. It's not going, okay, join dot 1 and then go to dot 2. And then you'll go to dot 3. No, that's not how it works. It's like, here, go over here to dot 20, and then backtrack, and then move down here, and then go around here like that. And at the end, during it just feels like absolute chaos. It feels like madness. We get lost in despair. We get stuck. We stop moving forward. We stop asking intuition, right? These are all the places where we get tripped up. But we just have to keep moving through. We have to keep taking one step at a time. One step, one step, one step, one step, one step, one step. And at the end of that particular lesson or cycle, we can look back at all the chaos and all the madness that was created, and we can see how it came together so divinely. How it came together in a way that you never would have ever chosen for yourself, right? I would not have, under any circumstances, moved Serafina and I into $1 million house with a pool by ourselves. There was no reason for it. There was no need for it. We were happy in our 2-bedroom apartment. Like, really, it was perfect. But it's where we're supposed to be, because my expansion cannot happen in a 2-bedroom apartment. Couldn't happen. Where I'm supposed to grow to would not have happened had we stayed there, and I never would have made the choice to do it. Oh, thank you. Without some kind of prompting. We're supposed to be there. I can feel it. There's giants in the mountains that are feeding me coats. So we're definitely supposed to be there. But man, getting there was icky. So icky. So painful. Right? And without that past experience, I never, ever would have seen the depth of my relationship trauma to the point where something would have had to change. I would have been able to keep fooling myself, bouncing around from relationship to relationship. I needed for every part of my life to be cracked open to expose the depths of that trauma. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, great. Good. So that's kind of the big picture of it, okay? We each have our most expansive path. All of the most expansive paths serve the planet's most expansive path, okay? When someone redirects from their most expansive path, divine beings, the angels, have to reorient. They have to move some shit about. They have to change some stuff, move some mountains, rework some gears. They have to figure out a new type of connection to get the entire planet to where it needs to go when this person deviated. That's why each of us following our divine path is necessary for the earth functioning with the most ease, for our evolution to be most complete as a human group. Everybody has to play their part. That's why everybody is important. Every single person that exists. That is not an over-exaggeration. That is absolutely factual. It is literal. Imagine it like this, okay? Imagine it like a massive clock. And we are all bits of, hi, Melissa. Aw, I miss you. We are all bits and pieces, right? We're the gears, we're the cogs, we're little ticking things, we're a spring, right? So we're all part of this massive clock. And it seems like, because we're so teensy, it seems like we're not very important, because this clock has 7.6 billion parts. It doesn't seem like we are necessarily that important. Like, if something happens to me, really, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen, my darling, is that the clock doesn't function as well as it was designed to. Will it keep going? Yeah. It'll limp along. It'll be off kilter. It won't tell time exactly right. Like, it won't happen as well as it would were you present, holding your role, holding your part. Each of us is vital for the most efficient functioning and evolution of our planet. Whether we're supposed to do big things for millions or small things for just one individual that we spark, that we teach, that we awaken, that we catalyze, that we inspire, right? How do we know what we're supposed to do? Intuition. How do we know what our mission is? We follow our intuition. How do we know who we're supposed to help if we're helpers specifically? Intuition. Everything. Intuition will keep you on your highest, most evolving, most evolved, most expansive, most abundant, most full of resources path. So that's our divine path. That's our divine path. That's why we're here. That's what's with suffering. We are not, I was specifically told not to talk about what's actually happening on our planet right now. Because I'll get blocked. Because I get blocked, and they want me to stay. Hi, Shelly. They want me to stay connected to you here on these platforms. So we're not going to talk about that. We will talk about it in a private class at some point. It's not now. It's not now. Okay, so that's why we're here. That's why bad things happen to good people. And good things happen to bad people. That's karma. That's what's the point. Despair, helplessness is only the fallacy that we do not have a choice, that we do not have options, that we are not strong enough, that we do not get a say in what happens to us when we absolutely do. So today we're actually going to do a group process. Group process today, which I don't usually do. The processes we usually only do in class, but That's what I was told, and I'm nothing if not a good listener. So take a nice deep cleansing breath. As long as you're not driving, you can close your eyes. If you are driving, you can still listen. Just don't close your eyes, please. We need you alive. So go ahead, just close your eyes, as long as you're not driving. Take some nice deep cleansing breaths. Open up your heart center. Now, if you don't know what open your heart center means, there is a door. Imagine there is a door over your chest that you could just open. Good. We're going to keep that open. Now, any heaviness that's sitting on top of your heart center, just breathe it through, up into your throat and out of your mouth. Good. I'm going to count you from 5 down to 0. And at 0, find yourself between time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. If you're visual, maybe you imagine yourself floating in space or in some kind of different dimension. If you're auditory, maybe you can hear the difference. If you're kinesthetic, maybe you just feel like you're not on Earth at the moment. That's funny. None of us are. It took us off Earth. I want you to ask your mind to tell you how it would benefit you to stay on a more comfortable path, a path of comfort. How would it benefit you? And just think of all the different reasons that it would benefit you to stay still. Good. Now, I want you to think about all the reasons it would benefit you to move on your highest, most expansive, most abundant, most aligned, most resonant path as your most true self. How would it benefit you? And as you're thinking about the benefits of doing that and fear pops up, I want you to let fear move through you. Breathe it through into your lungs, through your open heart center, up and out of your mouth. It's okay for fear to be noticed, to be present. There's nothing wrong with it. But just don't buy into it. Don't loop into it. Just let it move through you. Once you have more benefits to choose the highest path than to stay on the path of comfort, look at them. See them in front of you. It's almost as if they appear at different levels. The one of comfort seems like it's positioned lower because it is, it's at a lower frequency. And choose. Which do you choose? Every choice is a valid choice. Giving your mind permission to release whatever you no longer need or want. Allowing whatever feels right and resonant for you to sink in through your skin, through your bones, into your cells. One is coming back to the body, back to the room. 2 is a wonderful sense of well-being. 3, an even more alert number. 4 and 5 is eyes open, wide awake, and alert. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake, and alert. Hello. Hi, welcome back. How you feeling? What do you choose? Yay! Kat says that was so lovely. I'm happy about that. How are you feeling? What do you choose? Ooh, yes. Do the staircase homework. Anytime, darlings, that you're finding yourself helpless, take yourself back to remembering that you choose the path. Lena, it's probably your exhaustion, but you couldn't find any benefits for following the higher path. There might be benefits for others in the bigger picture, but what would there be for you other than more responsibility and exhaustion? The lower felt much nicer and more comfortable. Yeah, thank you for speaking that out loud, because I heard you ask me, Is it okay if I just stick with the lower path? And I smiled, and that's when I said, all choices are valid. Yes, of course. You did too. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Always. If you're feeling too exhausted, maybe the choice is to rest. And maybe rest isn't part of the lower path. Maybe rest is part of the path of expansion, because expansion doesn't look like always growing or always moving forward. If you ask your intuition, as you have been, Lena, if you ask your intuition, what am I supposed to do today? And like you've been experiencing, your intuition says rest for 6 months in a row on a weekly basis. That's your highest path, darling. Our highest path doesn't necessarily equate with always growing at an exponential rate. Our highest path moves attuned with our energy, with our purpose, with why we're here, with the situations on a moment by moment basis. Yeah, Kat, absolutely. Because your safety and comfort allowed you to grow. Sometimes we need to feel secure first before we can take a step outside into the unknown. Absolutely. 100%. Michelle, you saw the luxurious life. You were born to live on your highest path, having all the health, wealth, happiness, and the ability to give to others. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. What a beautiful vision you were able to witness. Gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, my darlings, that's it for today. I'll catch you next week with our next installment of Deep Ministries. You didn't want to leave. Oh, I bet. So much love to you. We're going to be, yep, there's class on Tuesday. Yes, ma'am. So there is class on Tuesday. Check my email, check your emails for the link. We're covering fear, clearing the fear of rejection. So that's what we're doing on Tuesday, 1:30, same time. Yep. No additional classes next week. Yeah, if you're not on my email list, get on it. What you playing at? No, I'm just teasing. In my bios on all my social medias, there's a Linktree link, and you can get on the Linktree link, and you can sign up for my email list so you can get the Zoom link for class. If you're on the streaming page, hi Nicole. If you're on the streaming page, the link is just below here. If you are, where else am I? Oh yeah, I'm not on Instagram today. Okay, cool. That covers all the bases. So much love to you. Love, 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 love. I'll see you soon. Bye.